In high school, I remember witnessing many of my classmates talking negatively about others behind their backs. Whether it was parents, teachers, other classmates, faculty members, whatever, it almost became a social norm that if somebody's name came up in a conversation and they weren't there to defend themselves, then you have to say something negative about them. God forbid you get caught saying something positive about them or giving them the benefit of the doubt. And so that kind of rubbed off on me, and I carried this angry, harshly judgmental, and critical attitude with me all the way through until the later years of college, where if I ever encountered somebody and I barely knew anything about them, even if it was in daily life, at the grocery store, in traffic, whatever, I had to come up with something negative to say about them. But over time I learned why this does more harm than good, both to myself and others, in at least 3 different ways. And that's what I want to go through in this video, and what you should really be doing instead, how you really should be treating others. So the first problem with this is that it's disrespectful and reductionistic towards those people that you're being harshly critical of for pretty much the same reason, which is you're not giving any credence to, you're not respecting the fact that there's so much more to their character than just that one thing you've noticed about them that ticks you off about them, because that's enough of a reason for you to run with that and just hate them all out. But in reality, they have a life just like you. They have contributions to make, they've been through hardships, and they have so much more to offer than just that one thing. So you have to be patient, you have to take the time to get to know people before you can jump to those conclusions about them. So for example, back in high school, I remember we had a new teacher arrive at school, and it wasn't even a week or two of them being there that people started to pretty much mock and belittle them behind their back. When in reality, if they would just take the time to take a class with that person and talk with them and interact with them, they would probably find that they actually taught a very interesting class and they were a pretty decent person. Now, if on the off chance you're wondering, why should I be respectful and not reductionistic, I think that's a perfectly legitimate question to ask. And that brings me to the next piece of this. And I think there are 2 answers to that. The first is that it's hypocritical of you to go around criticizing people so harshly over minute imperfections, like the ones we talked about, and then turning around and expecting that other people don't criticize you for those same imperfections that you surely do have. Because people might think that you walk too slowly up the stairs or that you take up too much space when you sit, and you might just not know about that because they're tolerating you. But you can't take advantage of that and then turn around and treat people in a way that's not commensurate with the way that you expect to be treated. And the second answer is, even if you leave that aside, that's where you just have to ask yourself what kind of a person you want to be. Do you want to be somebody that's decent and civilized and knows how to exercise a little bit of restraint when they meet people instead of jumping to conclusions? Or do you want to be the opposite? And really the choice is yours. And finally, we've talked about the damage that you do to others. Let's talk a little bit about the damage that you do to yourself, at least in one way, namely the damage you're doing to your credibility. Because if every time you're in a conversation with somebody and somebody else's name comes up, you have something negative to say about them, then eventually people are not going to take your judgment seriously, because it's not that you actually have a legitimate grievance with somebody. Instead, it's just that you hate everybody. So that says a lot more about you than it does about the person that you're judging or criticizing. So be selective about those times that you choose to be critical of others, only doing so if you actually have a legitimate reason, so that when you do, it actually means something. And in addition, be tolerant towards the imperfections of others and be patient with them, and just generally treat people how you want to be treated, instead of being so quick to judge others and just hate them within the first 5 minutes of meeting them. So if this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.